what up, Cane fans? Welcome, welcome. It is Tuesday, 7:30. You know what that means. It is Cafecito time. Let me pour myself a shot. While I do that, please go ahead and hit the like button. I can't outdo what Coach Feld did the other day. He poured himself a shot and then chugged the rest of it. I don't know if any of you guys saw that. It kind of went viral on Cane's Twitter, which means now I got to have Coach Feld on the show. I think it's destined now. Rob, what's going on? Mark, T. West, what's going on, sir? Mitchell, Jello, I have no idea what that means. You'll have to explain it to me later. All right, guys. So I don't want to delay too much. I want to bring in my guest in a second here. We'll cover some pretty much all things Canes news. He was at the ACC media days and everything. He got to interview Coach Cristobal. We were just talking about it now. I think just before I hit live, John Walker, who's a big DT prospect, D tackle prospect, is announcing tomorrow his commitment. No, the 28th. So lots going on. I know he's got a short window of time to hang with us and answer some questions. So without any further ado, let me bring him in. Mr. John Michaels, what's going on, sir?
What's up, man? How you doing? Now, I'm a little mad. I just got water. You've got cafecito. I've got water.
Yeah, water, cafecito, bro. I always prepare with the hydration, man.
I have to. Trying to keto. It's not going all that well yet. I'm trying to get back onto my diet. College football is coming really, really soon. We've got 34, 35 days, maybe 40 days left. And, I got to drop about 10 pounds before I make my way to Miami for the Bethune-Cookman game.
Yeah. Oh, so you'll be there for the opener?
Oh, damn right I will. It's Mario Cristobal time. I got to be there. And I'm getting a solo trip. The wife was like, you know what? If you want to go, you can go. Go to Miami. I said, cool. Appreciate it. You can go hang out with your friends this weekend. I don't care what you're doing because I can't wait to get to Dade County. Awesome, man.
Well, you'll be welcome with open arms, I'm sure. Yeah, man, I'm hyped for that first game, even though it is Bethune-Cookman. It's not the same as starting with a big opponent or something like that, like when we started with Florida a few years ago.
Right.
But let me tell you, man, the fact that it's Mario's first game, I got a feeling it might, even at 3:30, if it was a night game, I would say for sure it's going to be sold out.
Mm-hmm.
3:30, it's kind of dig into that a little bit, unfortunately, because September 3rd is basically still summer down here.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I think it's going to be north of 60,000 at the stadium. What do you think?
I don't know it gets that high. I hope you're right. We were talking about this on the Cane Gang radio show on Sirius XM. And, I said, if we get into the 50s and you're talking Bethune with 50,000, I mean, all bets are off. The following week against Southern Miss is going to be really tough because I think a lot of people are planning, hey, we're going to go to Texas A&M, go wherever you end up there. Maybe they skip out on the Southern Miss game. My thing is this. Mario, the president, Julio Frank, Dan Radakovich, everybody involved with Miami Athletics has put money down. They have said, we've made a full investment into the football program, again, in basketball and baseball, kind of in the same vein. It's time for us as fans to either put up or shut the hell up. Because on social media, you would think we've got 9 million fans waiting to show up and go to games. And I live in Atlanta, probably, 45 minutes. My house is 45 minutes to an hour from the University of Georgia. Their home schedule sucks. I mean, their home schedule is one of the worst home schedules you'll ever see. They'll have 93,000 there, whether they're playing Samford, whether they're playing Auburn or Tennessee, it doesn't matter. And it's time for us as fans to do the same. Tickets aren't that expensive. I was talking to the Cane season ticket office today, and I've got tickets. I was trying to grab a couple extra single tickets for the Florida State game. And they were like, first of all, everything down low is sold out. You can get 300 level tickets. And I was like, no, if you open up stuff in the 100 level, I'll call back and do it. But my point to that was single game seats in the club level for Florida State are $300, which for us, we go, that's a lot of damn money to go to a football game. To go to some of these big SEC schools, you got to pay $10,000 just to be able to then turn around and buy a ticket. So we as Miami fans, the school is finally invested after 20 years. We need to be there. That's why I said I'll put my money where my mouth is. I bought a ticket. I got a hotel room. I'll come down for the opener. I have no problem with that. And best believe if I lived in one of the Tri-County areas, Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach, I'd be there every damn week. And I think Miami fans need to do the same.
I totally agree with you. There shouldn't be any excuse to not have at least 50,000 there.
Right.
I was actually looking this up when the last time there was this much hype going into a season. I would think it's 2016, Mark Rick's first year. The first game was against FAMU, and the second game was against FAU. I was at both games. That FAMU game drew, if my numbers are correct, it was like 61,000, 62,000, something like that. It was almost a full crowd. Night game, which helps.
Right.
But almost a full crowd. FAU drew like 57,000. And I think the roof had just been installed. So that made a huge difference. It's not like back in the OB that it's a frying pan for a noon game. This is different. I think if we prove it on the field, I think if we win, if we show we're a good product, I think people will show. Like that Virginia game at the end of 2017 where Jaquan Johnson had the pick six, that was almost a sellout. I think if we win, they will come. That's just my opinion.
I mean, it is simple. You have to win. But early on in the season, again, you got three really, they're horrible home games. You hate to have to pay for them. Bethune, different. Local school, Daytona Beach, they're going to have some of their fans come down anyway. I'd say they bring 5,000 to 7,000 fans down. Southern Miss, nobody's going to be there other than Frank Gore and his family to see Frank Gore Jr. Middle Tennessee is going to be the same thing. I mean, nobody's coming to watch any of these football games. But as fans, I don't want to hear the, hey, we go to the beach, or, hey, South Beach was popping, or whatever, because those are there every day. You get 7 home games throughout the year. That's it. 6 or 7, depending on what year it is and if you have a neutral site game involved. You got 7 games. If you bought season tickets, club level, you could have paid $2,000 and got two tickets. Why wouldn't you be there every week? We know so many people. X has an unbelievable tailgate over in the Orange lot. Go over there, drop a dub with him, eat, drink, see strippers and everything else. Like, this is what you want to be about. This is what the team needs to be about. And if you want to get into the recruiting aspect, and you can ask me some stuff here in a minute about what I talked to Mario about, these kids notice. These kids know whether you're showing up or not. And I can promise you, you can have a $100 million facility. You can go 10-2 and go to the ACC championship game. But they also look around and they go, man, I looked at some of these crowds the last couple of years, and it's embarrassing. Those Thursday night games we had last year against Virginia, that was embarrassing. There was 25,000 people there. I was at the Michigan State game last year. There might have been 35,000 there, and there were 10,000 of them were Michigan State fans. It's embarrassing. Now, the products on the field has sucked. Let's call it like it is. The product has sucked for 20 years. Save 2017, maybe 2013, you kind of had a fluky start, 7-0 start to the year. For the most part, it's been terrible. But now that they've invested, we as fans need to invest as well.
Yeah. Rob, 55,000 for the FSU. I would say if we're going into the FSU game 7-0, 6-1, the FSU game is sold out. There's not an NPC at the FSU game.
The FSU game's sold out if we're 5-4. It's still Florida State. We still hate their sorry asses. And their dumb fans will show up. A couple of them will get a 3-piece chicken in the parking lot because they're going to run their mouth too much. And the rest of our fans will be there as well. We're 6-1, 7-0. That's going to be the hottest ticket going in South Florida.
100%. So let's get into this real quick. So I know you mentioned it earlier. For those who didn't catch it, those of you in the chat, you're part of the State of Miami podcast, which great podcast, big fan. You guys dropped an interview with Mario Cristobal. It wasn't a long one. It was like a 10-minute thing, but it was cool to hear you guys talk to him. What was your feeling after? I know you told me, it was kind of your first time meeting him and stuff. What was your feeling after sitting with him and feeling his energy? And also, I guess a 2-part question: what is the media perception now since you were around it of Miami now?
So the first part, our station here in Atlanta, we were at SEC Media Day. So I was in Atlanta. We did send one of our guys, Dan Matthews, who you heard on the podcast. Podcast is just me. If I do stuff Miami-wise that other people are on, I'll throw it on there because I'd rather have people hear it and get the platform. So Dan was in Charlotte, and he texted me the night before and goes, dude, we got Coach Cristobal at 8:30. He's all yours. So I was supposed to do 10 to 12 minutes with Mario by myself, which was going to be great. Of course, right as Mario sits down, we have technical difficulties where they couldn't hear me in Charlotte. So that's where you hear Dan starting the interview. So I ended up doing about the last 5 to 7 minutes with Mario by myself. For me, it was great. It's the first time I've had a chance to talk to Coach. Working in media as long as I have, you can kind of get a feel of who people are and what they're all about when you get a chance to interview them. And just talking to him, it was very personable. If you listen to the end, he had me send pictures of my tattoos, and he talked about the fans and everything else. But second, you can tell he's all about business. And for this program, I think that's the thing we've needed the most. Mark Richt was about business. Unfortunately, Coach Richt, I think his health was starting to go down, and we saw that obviously as he announced after he left Miami what was going on with him with Parkinson's and everything else. Manny, I think, wanted to be about business, but he had no stroke in the community. Nobody gave a crap about Manny Diaz. And that's why he tried to manufacture momentum with boats and chains and, whatever else it may be. Mario brings a track record of winning simply at a Power 5 level. He's 35-13 in his time at Oregon, and he has a passion and a desire to get our school back to where it once was. Listen to him talk. I asked him about connecting the community, and he said there is nothing, and everybody that lives in South Florida knows this. When the U is on top of the world, there's nothing like it. We're trendsetters. We are the epicenter of college football. Again, when we're on top, we have everybody wanting to have eyes on us, and everybody in South Florida wants to be a part of it. So listen to him say that, how important the fan base was. Again, it goes back to my original point. We got to put our money where our mouth is. And then the fact that he kind of joked and laughed with me at the end lets me know that he can be a person and he's listening. Now, I've interviewed a million coaches, and you'll talk to some of them, no matter how much you try to have fun with them, they don't want to do it. Mario immediately was like, dude, I want to see the tattoos. Send them to me on social media right now. And he liked them. He retweeted them and everything else. To me, as somebody that's been a Miami fan since I was 5 or 6 years old, that means the world to me. And there's no phony BS with Mario. Like, this is who he is. He is going to demand perfection out of these kids. He's going to demand results out of his staff and everything else. And I think we've got a guy. We're not going to win a national title this year. In 5 years, we'll make 2 college football playoffs and have a chance to win one. I truly, with every ounce of my existence, believe that's what Mario can bring to this.
I totally agree. I agree with that timetable. I think for sure within these first couple of years, I can almost guarantee that we'll have an ACC championship at some. Well, if we're still in the ACC,
right.
That's become a factor too. If the ACC still even exists, but yeah. So like, and you think I think now. I don't know if you agree. I feel like the rest of the country's finally starting to take notice a little bit. Like, regardless of the whole, John Ruiz stuff, I think that got eyeballs on us and stuff. I think people are starting to take us a little serious now. Whether they do or don't, I don't really care because they'll see it on the field. But I think people are starting to notice.
I think what's going on is, yes, Mario is such a dog in the recruiting game. You have to notice when Francis Magoa, one of the top offensive linemen in the country, goes, I'm going to the U. When Jaden Rashada, one of the top 5 QBs in the country, says, I'm going to the U. And, the list goes on and on and on. We're in the running for Samson Okunlola, and I'm probably going to butcher that poor kid's name until I figure it out. He's going to be here. We're going to get a whole bunch more. That's what you love to see with Mario. And, yes, the rest of the country starts to take notice. But I think that the second part to that is, a lot of the country still wants to have the jokes of, we hear every offseason the U is back. And I think Randall Hill said it best. He said, would you guys stop talking about the U is back? We're back to work. We're on the right path. But the guys that have been around the program or played in the program, they know what back is. Back is you're playing for national titles. Back is when you go to Texas A&M, you kick their ass in a top 10 matchup, and you announce to the world, here we are. The closest we've been to being back in all this time, 2017, when you go back-to-back weeks, you beat Virginia Tech's ass and you beat the hell out of Notre Dame, that's when people looked and go, oh, crap, Mark Richt's got this thing ready to go. That was close to being back, and then, unfortunately, we got slapped back to reality the next 3 weeks. This year, if you win 9 or 10 and you make it to the ACC championship, you're on the path to being back. But being back and getting full-on national respect doesn't happen until September through December. I was texting with one of our former players, and I don't want to name drop because I'm just not that guy. We were texting about some business, and then he was like, I always end the text with "Go Canes," and he goes, hopefully this year we actually win in the season and not just the off season. Because we've had with Manny, with Rick, times with Al Golden, with all those stupid phrases and sayings, with Randy Shannon taking the name. We won off seasons, yet we never could win September through December. I think we have the guy right now that can win September through December.
I agree, because not only, I think one of our biggest issues was inexperience in the coaching staff, whether it was an inexperienced head coach, an inexperienced staff, them not being on the same page, whatever. Finally, it seems like not only is it an elite staff, not only is it an elite head coach and recruiter, everyone's on the same page, and the financial backing and Radakovich. It's like, yeah, it's hard. That's hard to ignore. That's a little different from, oh, we just hired Mark Richt and that's it.
It absolutely is. You know, and you talk about the staff, and I think that's one of the most overlooked things over the last 20 years. I could go back to 2005. Larry Coker's staff was really good until the Peach Bowl, and they said, it's either you or Saldi and Kehoe and all these long-standing Miami Hurricanes. And when he ran those guys out of there, remember that next year, unfortunately, it's the Brian Patty year, and they go 6-6, 7-6, whatever. You played Nevada. I never forget it. It was one of the only Miami games I've ever missed. They played Nevada in Boise on New Year's Eve, and I was on the way to the club, and I go, I don't give a rat's ass about this game. We have Kirby Freeman playing quarterback. It's stupid. Well, then he gets blown out of there, and you bring in Randy Shannon on the cheap, and then you tell Randy you don't have money to hire anybody. Tim Walton and Patrick Nix and, you know, all of these on-the-job training guys. You bring Golden in. He brings all his little buddies from Penn State that couldn't coach their way out of a wet paper bag. Mark Richt, at least he brought Manny in and got away from the D'Onofrio debacle, you know, on the defensive side. But again, he was too concerned with, you know, trying to keep a job for his son. Thomas Brown, who has gone on to do great things in the NFL, was on the job training. And Manny was doing the same thing. It was, you know, don't get me wrong. I love the Rhett Lashley hire. Dan Enos, the first year was a disaster. Defensive coordinator with, I can't remember, Blake Baker was terrible. And then last year he was so cheap he decided to bet on himself, which was even worse. So you never had the financial backing. And in today's college football game, it literally comes down to money. You could use Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Oklahoma, USC. These people are putting their staffs together where assistant coaches are making $1.5, $2 million, where position coaches are making $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. That's what Miami was paying coordinators. You know, you're paying your OC $600,000. You can't compete with somebody whose strength and conditioning coach is $600,000. Now you go get Kevin Steele, you know, and I get it. His defenses aren't always the best, but he's been around the SEC for 20 some odd years. He shut down Alabama at times and kept Auburn in, you know, in the games. You bring in Josh Gaddis, who was the Broyles Award winner. And, you know, I play college football, college fantasy. So I watch a lot more other games than most people do. I watch Michigan. Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins were great. That could be Chaney, Thad, Rooster, you know, all those guys. You can throw them in the mix. Make that happen. He had big plays out of his receivers. I know our receivers didn't have the greatest spring game, but now you got a guy who's going to scheme you into points. Only time Michigan was really stopped last year is when they physically got their ass kicked by Georgia. Guess what? Everybody got stopped by Georgia last year with the thing that they did. So having that money and financial backing makes such a huge difference. And it puts the program, you know, again, you're not going to be where the upper 5 or 6 or 7 is. But you absolutely, this year, 2022, can be in the conversation for 7 through 15. And that's a damn far cry from where they've been the past, you know, again, 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, you mentioned that Nevada game. I watched it like the diehard fan that I am, stupidly. Dude, we were down in that game to Nevada, and I remember Kirby Freeman hit a bomb, I think, to Lance Leggett for a touchdown, and then later hit one to Ryan Moore for a touchdown. And we ended up winning the game by
21-20, if I'm not mistaken.
21-14, I think. It was by a touchdown. Or, yeah, it might have been 21-20. And I remember looking at my brother, we're watching it, and I'm like, this is the most explosive our offense has looked all year. Those 2 touchdowns, that's it. Like, it was pretty bad. The
crazy part that year, oh my, you beat Houston like 13-6 or something. I mean, it's just.
And I think Houston was ranked.
They were. They had Case Keenum for one of his 11 years in college. The only reason, and I think I watched parts of that game. I came back the next morning, and this, tell you how long ago that was. It was on VHS, and I recorded it. And I'm hungover as hell from being at Club 112 here in Atlanta. And I'm trying to watch it. And I go, why am I watching this crap? Yeah. Like, we played on New Year's Eve on blue turf in the snow. Like, that's how embarrassing it was. I don't want those days anymore. You
No.
know, I didn't want us to miss a bowl game last year because I thought TVD and the offense was really rolling. But at the same time, I was like, do I really want to watch us in the Sun Bowl against Washington State? We've done this story before. Like, I'm over playing in grab-ass bowl games.
Yeah. No, I think definitely those days are over. Hopefully. But yeah, I know you got maybe 7 or 8 minutes left here. So Mitch has a great point here. I think I'm most excited to see all the players back on the sideline and see who comes. You know, these kids aren't going to take a playoff when the Hall of Famers are watching them trying to improve. Now, there's conflicting ideologies with this. I've heard this from former players, from guys like Joaquin and guys like that on podcasts. Some will say, it doesn't really make a difference if some legends on the field. I still want to, I still got to do my job, whatever. Some say it makes a huge difference. What's your thought on that?
And I asked Mario about this. I said, how important is it to get these guys back around the program? And he mentioned in the early 90s when he was there, and he goes, dude, I remember games where Lamar Thomas was doing something and Michael Irvin, who's in the NFL, is down there teaching Lamar how to get off the press, and showing him different techniques to get off the press coverage, and it helped. He said at the same time, though, our coaches are here to coach. So I think there is a give and take to that. You do want guys on the sideline. You don't want them to overstep their boundaries, because I think part of that has to do with the kids today. They don't necessarily, they may know who Michael Irvin is. They don't remember Michael Irvin playing in the Orange Bowl. They don't remember the war number 47. They see him do all these speeches every year. They don't necessarily know who he is. The knowledge is awesome. If guys like that can stop by a practice, a Jeremy Shockey comes through and says, look, Will Mallory, I'm going to work with you. And if you remember in 2000, I was a backup to a guy named Ivan Mercer before I took his job. And then it went on to, be a first-round pick in the NFL. That stuff I like. Occasionally, big game. Florida State, hell, bring everybody. Danny Stubbs, Gino Toretta, whoever can be there, get them on the sideline and show these kids, that this community and this brotherhood is all about it. But against Southern Miss, I don't need any of those guys there. And they probably won't be. They're going to be there for the Florida States. They may show up for the Clemson games when we finally get them back at home. I'm good with them being connected to the program, because you could look at Amon Richards on Twitter or Brian Monroe or any of the guys that are, more active down in South Florida. And they say, look, we weren't allowed. Like, that's what made Miami, Miami. Go back and watch the 87 Orange Bowl on YouTube. They'll flash down on the sideline. It's Jerome Brown. I think it's Vinny Testaverde. Just a line of guys. Benny Blades. They're all there to support their former teammates. I need that back for Miami with the big games.
Absolutely, man. I know you got a few minutes left, so we'll hit a couple more questions. Real quick, let's go into the state of the team currently. We're going into fall camp here in the next few days. I think August 3rd or 4th, I think, is when fall camp officially starts. Position battles. What do how do you feel about the team overall right now? Or what are a couple of position battles you're interested in seeing? Is there a player you think might surprise us?
I am a guy who is always glass half full. I love the school and love the team so much, which you could probably tell on social media. I love them so much. I'm always going to go into the season. Maybe, we've got that chance to be really good. There are some years that's more of a hope and a wish than an actual talent evaluation. I thought last year we were going to be really good. I think the De'Aaron King thing, you probably put him out there when he shouldn't have been. He clearly wasn't healthy against Michigan State in the second half, and yet you had him throw the ball 50-some-odd times. The O-line was kind of not very good. But I look at this year's team, and a couple of things make football teams really good. Number one is quarterback. If you have an elite quarterback in college football, you're going to have a good team. Miami has an elite quarterback. Every single top 10 prognostication has Tyler Van Dyke somewhere. I've seen him as high as 3 or 4. I've seen him as low as 10. He's closer to me as a top 5 quarterback. He's not Bryce Young. He's not C.J. Stroud. But I can make an argument he's better than everybody else, including Caleb Williams, including Spencer Rattler, all of those guys. So number one, when you have that, you're going to be really good. Number two, Mario has addressed the offensive line, and we're old finally on the offensive line. We have a senior at left tackle. Ja'Kai Clark's either a junior or senior at center. That's huge. You bring in a couple of transfers from Oregon who were high-profile guys that got injured out there. Sagapolo is a monster. Jalen Rivers comes back from injury. He was the best offensive lineman we had last year before he gets hurt. He was one of the only guys in the Bama game that was really holding his own. So now all of a sudden you're old on the offensive line. You're not starting a true freshman at left tackle. That's huge. You have 4 uber talented running backs: Don Chaney, Henry Parrish, Rooster, and Thaddeus Franklin. Those 4 guys, you can sub any one of them. And if you watch Mario at Oregon, he's a guy that's had rotations. Travis Dye would have a big game one week. The next week, his backup has a big game. So it's kind of go with the hot guy. So I think offensively, just with those 3 groups, you're going to be really good. You asked position battle, I worry about. Receiver, I'm not as overly concerned as a lot of people. People took the spring game like they dropped passes in the national title game. Dude, it's a spring game. Like, calm down. I remember Ken Dorsey struggling in spring games. Guys are going to drop balls. They get a little bit nervous, but there's talent there. Romello Brinson, baller. Jacoby George, baller. X is a baller. Keyshawn Smith. You bring in Frankie Ladson. You've got some young guys that are fighting for jobs. You've legit got 7 or 8, 9 guys who I think have a chance to play. It's just a matter of on Saturdays who steps up. That's an intriguing battle to me. Defensively, I'm not quite as confident. Now, I love Kevin Steele. Kevin Steele will mask inefficiencies in player situations. Defensive line, I love the fact that you brought in experienced transfers. Mesidor, Lichtenstein, was it Agude? You bring in all of these different guys who have played at Power 5 level that can walk in and play. Now you get them next to a Leonard Taylor. You get them next to some of the young guys, Cyrus Moss and Nigel Kelly, Jafari Harvey, who was up at ACC Media Day, another kid who can blossom, Elijah Roberts. You're deep. You just haven't had a lot of productivity out of all these guys as a unit. I'm very fascinated. Can they find because Kevin Steele will do 4 and 4. If you watch what he did at Auburn, he'll have his starting 4, and 3 or 4 plays later, the next 4 are coming in. It's like a NASCAR tire rotation. Linebacker scares the hell out of me. I mean, for real. Linebacker scares the crap out of me. What they did last year was one of the worst linebacker performances I have ever seen at the University of Miami. And I'm even going when we were starting guys like Thurston Armbrister, no star guy, and nothing against him. Played at Miami, you're a better player than I ever was. Caleb Johnson has to walk in and be a starter and be a stud day one as a transfer. I need guys to step up. Wesley may end up being a kid as a true freshman, and I saw he's up to about 212 pounds now, that has to play. You look at what happened last year. You had guys missing assignments, we led the nation in missed tackles. Linebacker scares the hell out of me. But on the flip side, secondary, I actually think is going to be really good. You've got 3 studs at safety, we all know. 3 sophomores in Cam, in James Williams, and Avante. Those kids are ball players. And then you addressed Al Blades comes back. I love it. Daryl Porter in the transfer portal, starter again, played in the Big 12. They throw the ball everywhere. Tyreek Stevenson, Corey Couch. You're kind of loaded at secondary for the first time in a long time. So I'm intrigued to see what happens there, but I'm nervous on the front 7. You probably need 2 or 3 guys to really step up and really get things done. But again, if you go from, where were they, 78th in the country in defense a year ago, and you even put that into the 30s, which is not an elite defense by any stretch, but you get to the 30s, Miami wins 10 games without breaking a sweat.
Long Live the King alludes to something I was going to mention. The tackling is, if you just improve the tackling, that accounts for 2 wins right there. We go from 7 wins to 9 wins real quick last year. But
I think they had 133 missed tackles is the stat I either read or heard. That's insane. Like, you're grown. You're one of the upper echelon programs in college football, and you have 133 missed tackles. And I hate to compare us to Georgia and Alabama. I was at the national championship game, and there wasn't a missed tackle. Alabama would run that little stupid screen that they ran against us and was going 50 yards, or Florida ran against us in 2019, or Michigan State, remember, where we had 2 guys run into each other last year and they run a screen, and next thing you know, he's 50 yards down the field. Alabama ran that screen. Georgia's tackling the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Georgia runs the same thing. Alabama's got 3 guys at the ball. Get guys' asses on the ground. And that's right here. I'm pointing at my heart. That's a want to and a desire. And yes, there is some fundamentals and technique associated with it. I think our technique last year, we did that stupid rugby tackling where we stop, drop, and roll like we're on fire. like the stupid ass commercials of the 80s. That doesn't work. We had too many guys that would come up, and I called it the shoulder bump. They want to run up and do this number. Drop your ass, face mask up, put it right in somebody's chest, and drive their ass to the ground. Mario's going to make that happen.
I don't know what happened to that. They must be teaching them different stuff in youth football to, like, I guess, kind of conserve their careers. Dude, they're playing a violent game either way. Right. Teach them to wrap up.
Yeah. And you know what? We were always taught it doesn't matter how you get a guy to the ground. You got to drag him by his shoelace, drag him by his shoelace. You got to pull him by the jersey, pull him by the jersey. Get his ass to the ground because that ends the play. You take away – I'm thinking about Michigan State. We probably had 75 missed tackles in that game alone on Kenneth Walker and some of those guys. How many times we'd have them sacked and Peyton Thorne's running around, whatever. Stupid. Virginia, we'd have those guys tackled 1,000,000 times. Stupid. I'm trying to think. North Carolina, oh, my goodness. For 2 years, North Carolina has run roughshod over us. It's stupid. And I think now the accountability is there. And I think one of the things with Manny, not to bang on him, but I will anyway, there was so little accountability when it came to making a bad play and coming off the field.
There was zero.
None. If you miss a tackle, dude, sit over there. You mean to tell me that Avery Huff couldn't get on the field when I watch linebackers both run into the same gap and the running backs going the other way, both avoid blocks? Corey Flagg, God bless his soul, he was probably playing, in my estimation, 10 to 15 pounds too heavy. I need him to slim down and use some speed. He's got the natural instincts, just wasn't getting it done. But the accountability was out the window. Watch what Mario did last year in a game when Oregon's beating the hell out of somebody, and I think it was one of his receivers got a personal foul. Mario was in that dude's ass like a porn star. Like literally. He had that kid by the face mask and was like, what the blank are you doing? Like, you're not doing this. That's what we needed. South Florida kids need somebody. Yeah, you could be a player coach. That's all fine and dandy. South Florida kids need somebody that demand the best, and Mario will do that.
Yeah, 1,000%. Man, I always like listening to you because, like, sometimes I'll hear the more realistic side, but then I'll hear you and you fire me up again, which, like, I don't know if that's a good thing. But
I try to be realistic and I try to have you fired up. When I say Miami football is my passion, I saw a guy earlier sent a message, said he's got like 6 tattoos. I think I have 5 or 6 Miami tattoos. I want to get more. My wife just looks at me and goes, what the hell are you doing? You're 47 years old. You don't need that. My son's name is Kane. Like, that's his birth name. It's Kane, C-A-N-E. Nice. Everybody I work with, and I'm on Atlanta radio, I work with a guy that finished second in the Heisman and Joe Hamilton, Hudson Mason, who played at Georgia, Brian Finneran, who played 12 years for the Falcons. Yet every day, one of them will ask me on the air about Miami because they know that is what I care about. And they were like, dude, we just hope Mario's good for your health. I said, yeah, that's fine. I hope he's good for my health too, but I really do think he's going to be a star. And that's why I tell anybody, whether you're podcasting, doing YouTube, you're on air, I never will say no to anybody to talk Miami football. Never, ever, ever. Because just like you're doing stuff now, and obviously you have an awesome following, I started 20 years ago hoping to get to Miami to do shows. This was long before internet was available to do shows, and that's all I wanted to do. And people are like, why do you do the podcast? And I go, bro, I sit in my basement in front of my, in my home studio, and I do 35 minutes talking about the Canes. What's wrong with that? I don't need to make a dime off this. I don't care. This is what I do in regular. If I'm in the gym, it's regular conversation about Miami. I'll see somebody in a Georgia shirt, and I'll just walk by and throw up the U, and they all know what the hell I'm talking about when I do that. So, yeah, I love it. It's my passion. I cannot wait September 3rd. Let me know. Send me a message where you'll be tailgating. The podcast is State of Miami. You can follow it on Twitter at State of Miami Pod. Follow me. You can probably see my screen name up there. At John Michaels U is where I'm at on social media as well. Everybody that's there, I'll be over by X's tailgate. X is my dude. Mondo is a good, close personal friend of mine. So I'll be with Mondo. I'll be with Cam. You name it. Any of the normal people you see down there, I'll be there. Tito's and Red Bull. I'll have those poured up. Might have an edible with me. Who knows? Depends on what happens that day. But I cannot wait September 3rd to see family, because I consider all you guys family. Whether I've met you or not, you rep that orange and green. you're family to me.
Amen, brother. Well, there you have it, guys. State of Miami Pod. Go check them out. Check them out on Twitter. And John, really appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
Dude, anytime, hit me up and we'll make this happen.
All right, brother. Take care, man. Have a good one.
See ya.
There you have it, man. John Michaels. Always love hearing from that dude. It was my first time. Well, we interviewed him on Flo's show one time, but I made a mental note and I'm like, man, I gotta get him on my show because he always has me fired up. I don't know about you guys, but thank you to him for coming on. I saw your question, Mitch. I'll get to it now. Can we make a bet who gets the first targeting penalty and excessive celebration penalty like the old Canes? Well, Amari Carter is no longer on the team. I think he graduated. So, well, now with that COVID year, I don't know. Guys are playing 7-8 years now. I feel like. But I think Amari Carter is no longer on the team. So, I don't know. Oh, James Williams. I don't know, man. I feel like he's going to be driving his shoulder into people's guts, which he should instead of their helmets. He should, he'll be wrapping up more. I think that's going to be a point of emphasis for James Williams. But as far as excessive celebration, I could see James or Avante Williams getting an interception. Maybe Bethune-Cookman takes a wild shot down the field and, they're just like, do one of those fair catch interceptions. Place goes nuts. We get the ball back and, they do some kind of crazy celebration running off the field and he gets flagged. That's what I'm thinking. Let's see. John, last 2 weeks have showed me wanting to run through a wall. Bro, between Coach Mirabal and John Michaels, just those two alone. Like you get those two guys in front of the team, bro, it's over. Malik Bryant tomorrow. Yeah, I was seeing that in the comments. So Malik Bryant is for sure tomorrow. I don't know. You guys tell me. I'll have to confirm that myself. And I know John Walker, defensive tackles, committing Thursday, July 28th. Can't wait for the season. What's up with Bryant at linebacker? So Malik Bryant, if he is announcing tomorrow, I feel confident where we stand with him. I'll just put it that way. But yeah, that'll be another 4 to 5 star level player. Outside linebacker, stud, 6'2", 230 pounds. Already got that NFL size, that NFL frame. We really need that. We've needed that for a long time. He's one of those dudes that doesn't need to do that little stupid donut roll tackle. He's just going to knock dudes on their butts. Between him, James, Avante, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. Chase Smith. Now you got dudes that can really hit. You got dudes that can strike a little fear into a receiver coming across the middle. Confirmed tomorrow at 12 p.m. Ooh, I'll be at work. Well, there's a fellow Cane fan I have at work that I can talk to about it once he announces. Let's see. Who gets the first sack of the season? Ooh, okay. I like this one. First sack of the season. I'm going to say, I think it's going to be Leonard Taylor. I think it's going to be LT at defensive tackle. I think he's going to – some edge rusher's going to come off the edge, just pure speed. Quarterback's going to have to scramble, step up, and he's going to meet Leonard Taylor just right in the face mask. Chris thinks Leonard Taylor. Cincy Kane thinks Elijah Roberts. First time seeing you on, Cincy Kane. Welcome to the show. Fernando. Jake Lichtenstein. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think he's going to get some serious playing time in that first game, especially. I think everybody forgot about the DB that came from Georgia a couple of years ago. I forget his name. The DB that came from Georgia a couple of years ago. That's not Markeith Williams, is it? Mitchell, are you talking about a transfer or a recruit, like a high school recruit? What about Pancake Online? O-line upgrade is a must since Finland Marshmallow Man left to Bama. Yeah, no. Tyreek. My bad. I don't think anybody forgot about Tyreek, Mitch. I think we got a lot of talent at safety. And I think James and Avante and those guys are really fan favorites. But yeah, Tyreek Stevenson, he's starting at corner for sure. No doubt in my mind. He had a solid year last year. He probably could have gotten drafted if he ended the draft last year. I'm sure of it. But I thought it was a great decision for him to come back. He doesn't want to go and be a 4th or 5th round pick. He wants to be at least a 2nd round pick. I think a great year from Tyreek Stevenson warrants a 2nd round pick or possibly higher. I think he has that ability. But he's been real quiet. Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys on the team have been a little quiet. I don't even know. Did he play in the spring game? I know there was 17 guys injured in the spring game, and a lot of them were starters. I think Tyreek might have been one of them. Let's see. TVD and Rooster. Oh, yeah, I'm excited about them. But, yeah, bye-bye Bosworth. About Pancake Honcho, yeah. Like where we stand with him, too. You land him and Maui Goa, bro, that is the beginning of a national championship caliber offensive line. It really is. No, he was out. Okay. That's part of the reason. There you go. Let's see. So answer a few more questions here. So I like these questions. Who's going to get the first sack? Who's going to get let's see. Let's throw this one out there. Who'll get the first interception? I kind of alluded to it earlier. I think it's going to be probably James Williams playing deep center field on a bomb that just gets overthrown. I think it just gets an easy pick. How many we land this week? Flo said in the next 7 days, we land 3 to 4. I'm gonna say 3. I think in the next, I'm not gonna lock it down to 7 days. I think in the next week to week and a half or so, week to 10 days. Yeah, I think we get 3. I think that's my prediction. All right. Lights starting to get a little dim here. The sun's going down, so I will shut it down here in a few minutes. Let's see. Who will be TVD's toughest game? I like that question. I would say Clemson on the road is going to be his toughest game. Because say what you want about Clemson going into the season, they're still going to be a very, very good football team and very tough to beat at home. They got a 30-something game home winning streak going right now. We have to break that. The strength of their team for the last 7-8 years, it seems like, has been their defense, thanks to Brent Venables and, partially to Dabo Sweeney, obviously. He's the head man. They always have an elite defense. They don't have all first rounders on their D line like they did in 2017 when they played us in the title game. But, I think they're going to be very solid bunch of NFL guys everywhere on their defense still. And they're going to be well coached and prepared. So that's going to be, that's going to be a challenge. You think Kinchin's get the first pick? Okay. Not a bad prediction. 2024 change, $3.9 million, talking about 85 players and contract to university ranking. Only Miami, Florida rate for standing alone all by yourself, CANES. Yeah, I'm not too worried about all the conference stuff right now, to be honest with you. I'd be getting the first one. Man, if your prediction's right, man, you are like Nostradamus. I don't know if he'll be getting the first pick. I hope we get a good year from DJ Ivey, though. I hope we finally get one because physically he's everything you want from an NFL corner. Let's see. First touchdown reception. Here it is. I was looking for that question. First TD reception will be, I'm going to say Will Mallory. I'm going to go with an easy one. Will Mallory developed such a rapport with Tyler Van Dyke, I think, in the second half of last year. I think that first trip to the red zone, he runs a nice, easy little out route, catches one for a touchdown, or he'll run that little wheel route that he ran the first touchdown against Virginia Tech. That was beautiful, and it was timed perfectly. Something like that to Will Mallory. Latson, let's see, Kobe Young. Restrepo's a good, he'll be a high volume catch guy, so that's a good prediction. Maybe we run one in. Maybe it's like, Rooster or Thad Franklin. I'm thinking maybe it's going to be Will Mallory. Royal X-Man. Canes, 1989. What's going on? Clemson definitely will be the toughest test. First offsides. Let's not talk about negative stuff. No offsides this year. All right. I think I'm going to cut it off here. 171 in the chat. Thank you guys so much. And got my cafecito right here. I don't know if you guys do from home, but cheers. And as always, go Kings.